The shinola on that one. All right. Now I would like to address this arts funding issue. Now this all reminds me of a humorous story of the traveling salesman. Let's say that the taxpayer is a farmer and the government is a salesman. Well, the farmer says you can spend the night in my barn, but do me a favor, don't stick your willy into any of the 3 holes in the wall. Well, in this case, the salesman's willy represents the taxpayer's money, you understand. Well, the government, like the salesman, can't help himself. Sticks his willy in the first hole, it feels good. Sticks his willy in the second hole, it feels even better. Sticks his willy in the third hole, and it hurts like hell, and it won't let go. Well, in the morning, the farmer comes out, and he explains. Behind the first hole was my wife. Behind the second hole was my daughter. And behind the third hole was a milking machine that don't let go till it gets 50 gallons. Gentlemen, I propose that this arts funding is like a milking machine, and unless we shut it down, it's going to rip our dicks right off.
Look, this is just an informal chat. We were wondering what you were working on in your lab.
Well, I've invented a pill that gives worms to ex-girlfriends.
Right, and what's positive about that?
Well, it's a pill that gives worms to ex-girlfriends.
Well, could it also give worms to ex-boyfriends?
This is a drug for the world to give worms to ex-girlfriends.
Well, great. Thanks for stopping by.
You just don't get it here.
Today, we've tried to take a closer look at a subject that's on the minds of many American women, the problems connected with being a battered wife. Our guest has been Mrs. Wynette Sloan, a lady who knows firsthand. And because she's come here today and told us how she deals with it, she's opened our eyes and made some helpful suggestions to the untold millions of women out there who are battered wives.
Keep it simple. Salt, pepper, butter and sage, flour, and eggs.
Next week on Who Wants to Know, we'll meet a student who buttered up his teacher. So until next week, this is Morton Hamdiner saying good night. The show is quite informative. Excuse me, Miss Sloan. Are we still on the air?
There was hundreds.
Russell Murphy is referring to the fish now belly up in Leslie Run. He and his wife noticed them last night, barely 48 hours after the fiery derailment 5 miles away.
This is huge, huge environmental effects.
You're the boss.
Oh no! Chinese Boswell! Serious this time!
1. The responsible party in this case, Norfolk Southern Railway. always plays down the reality of the situation. Politicians also just repeat the same lines, and then news outlets just repeat the same. So all we're hearing is the responsible party's word.
The impact of the fish, yes, there was a impact of those. However, the levels as we have seen it are protective to groundwater. We are aware there are some wells along that for residential wells.
What?
Registered commies, not guns.
Oh, he was probably a member of the National Rifle Association. There was a group that helped criminals get guns so they could shoot citizens. It was a public service.
Snake eyes. Idiot teeth. Oh, hammerhead. Oh no, pussycat. Pussycat puss. Batman. Double header. Pickle puss. Pumpkinhead. Neon noodle. Jokebox jaw. Wolfman. Ruff. Ruff. You're all under arrest.
I'm married to a woman.
These are all my regulars. You strike me as a angry top. I'm clean, but you do have to glove up unless you're down for some frottage.
Frottage?
It's French for rubbing our dicks together.
You know, folks, I can do all kinds of farts. I can do little granny farts. Or great big beer-drinking truck driver farts. I can fart like a turtle. Or I can fart like an astronaut.
I like cream pies as much as the next guy. Oh, don't say it out loud. Oh, okay. Let me make a cream pie for you, okay? Then you can try it. See what you think. I do not want to taste your cream pie. They taste great. I can guarantee it. You've tasted yours? Of course I have. Haven't you? No. I've tasted mine. I didn't like it. I've tasted mine, yeah. I liked mine.
Put the damn seats back, you dumb foreigner. Come on.
Foreigner?
Yeah.
Did you say foreigner?
Yeah.
For you.
What's that mean?
Means this.
You better smile when you do that, buddy.
Oh, yeah?
Okay, pal, mull this one over.
Oh, all right. I accept your apology.
For shame, Doc. Hunting rabbits with an elephant gun.
Elephant gun?
That's right, Doc. So why don't you go shoot yourself an elephant? You do, and I'll give you such a pinch!
We're going to start our volleys. We hope you like the show. Everything is ready. We're raring to go. We'll give you all the latest songs and dances full of pep. We're gonna start with high jump. Just watch this chorus steps.
Originally settled as Ocean View during the 1850s, the city's population boomed with displaced
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Fantastic Comics Presents. My name is Ewell. For those of you that are watching over on the Ewell Carter channel, you should definitely give the Fantastic Comics channel a try, because if you're in store for something, and if you like it, you want to be over there, because I don't do this over here all that often. And now that I've confused everybody, welcome to Fantastic Comics Presents. This is our 158th consecutive episode on a Tuesday night starting at 8. We're going to get to your comments in just a moment. Yeah, so for those of you that are new here, I'd like to let you know that we're also a comic book store. We're not just a comic book YouTube channel with a personality like myself, Ewell, owner of Fantastic Comics, runner of this show, guy in charge of everything, or it's all in charge of him. But either way, begins and ends with, well, probably, anyway, I'm the guy. And I'm the guy that's bringing you some comic book talk and stuff, pop culture, but really, mostly, just comic book related talk amongst the sea of other people that are going crazy out there on YouTube and podcasts, and just talking about all sorts of Instagram accounts of comic books. But what is different among all of those other ones is that this is a show that is from a fan, that's me, from a guy that owns a store, letting you know about things that you might not know about as an owner of a store, as a guy that sees the industry in a way that isn't usually, talked about out there. I got a couple things to talk about, and usually I can fill up a little bit of time. But first, I want to let everybody know what goes on in the show. We talk about things that happen in the comic store. Maybe you aren't in the comic store anymore. You don't go to your store. You just get stuff shipped to you, or you just look at stuff online. But you miss that camaraderie, that conversation. That's why you come in, you watch this live, you can chat with us, have conversation with other people. Oh, you like that book? I don't like that book, but I do like this book. And, you just talk about stuff. Stuff that's comic book related. Try and respect people, obviously, but have a good conversation. Have some altering points of view. Like, I'm not a big Avengers fan, but here I have an icon that's from an Avengers issue. Can you tell me which one? I know a lot of people have dropped off that book, so you probably haven't read it recently. Then you don't know. All right. First and foremost, we have to get to this. We talk about things in the show, and what we first talk about is this. Wrestling. It definitely crosses over in comic books. There was the Daniel Warren Johnson book that just came out recently. Do a Powerbomb. One of my favorite books prior to that is an Adam Polina book he did called Big Daddy Danger. And, wrestling, Thing was an intergalactic champion back in the 80s. The Hernandez brothers have female wrestling, women wrestling, Mexican lucha wrestling in their comic books. So it's not, I understand a lot of people want to turn their nose down at other things, but there is definitely a connection, a little jam sandwich of wrestling and comic books from time to time. And so we talk about wrestling also. And I just just a minute's worth. Sad to say, starting off, Jerry Jarrett, that's the guy all the way on the end, not Jerry Lawler, but with the Jarretts there on second and third. That's a Memphis Southern wrestling, legacy. I mean, those are some greats. Not a big fan of I'm not a Jeff Jarrett fan. Jerry Jarrett's great. Jeff Jarrett's great. Jerry Lawler's great. But, you know, they're just personalities. And, yeah, it was just a different time. And, you know, if we're talking work rate, not so great. But if we're talking about, you know, being able to work in the ring, and Jerry Jarrett knew how to like run the individuals. Conan stepped in it when he said something bad about a wrestler doing Eddie Guerrero shimmy on the top rope, and then later said that he was just joking. Tony Khan did an interview with the Dan Le Batard show with Stu Gatz, and he was basically talking the differences and the competition and how WWE and AEW hate each other. And, you know, I'm sure there might be a person or two that maybe hates the other people, but come on, seriously. It's like he's trying to play his character, it sounds like to me. Go check I'm sure it's on ESPN or whatever the heck it is. Maybe it's Fox. I'm going to show a video. This didn't work last week, so I want to see if it works this week.
She's not afraid to go up high.
No, she's a bit of a risk taker here. Taking too much time, though.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that was last week. This was this week.
It was definitely very physical. And she went for an exploder. She kind of counted it a little bit, did Bunny.
These ladies are getting killed over there. I hope they're getting paid a lot of money. And then something happened in WWE.
I won the 2023 Royal Rumble. I punched my ticket. Michael Cole said it on commentary. He said, finish the story. Finish the story. Finish the story. I intend to finish my story. You need to finish yours.
Yeah, that's going to get me demonetized. If I was, help me get to 1,000 subscribers, please. But that wasn't even the most important thing that happened in wrestling earlier this week or last week, late last week. We were talking about some new shoes that people were talking about, and Seth Rollins had them. Oh, look at that. Who was it? I think it was Doc Post-a-Lot told me about these Astro Boy shoes or boots, and Seth Rollins had them ready to go on Miz TV, and that's pretty cool. All right, and with that, that's your wrestling minute. Let's see if I got it right here. Ooh, baby, how about that? Oh, I don't have my name up. Sorry, you guys all want to know how to spell my name. I'm going to let you know. Here it is, display names. Boom. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and putting up with my shenanigans. I've got a little bit more as far as shenanigans are concerned. I want to say, all right, so after the wrestling minute, I address the audience. You know, I have a little video clip that I play, but I've made a new one for today for one special person.
Hello. Hi. My name is Jesus Christ. You have a lovely home. Hello. It's an amazing book. Bonjour. Hola. Ni hao. Me llamo Elder White. Are these your kids? This book gives you the secret to eternal life.
That's right. Happy Valentine's Day, Jill. Go ahead and look on the table. Okay. To everybody else that's out there and to everybody that's tuning in after the fact.
We didn't come to borrow any money. We didn't come to borrow any dough. We didn't come to borrow any trouble. We just stopped in to say hello. Oh, hello to you, Mr. Penny. Please don't think that we are hammy. We just stopped in from Alabama. We just stopped in to say hello. Oh boy, you said it. We just stopped in to say hello. And don't forget it. We just stopped in to say hello. And hello. Goodbye.
Hello, everyone. It was so cold today. I didn't want to shave. I don't think I was going to a lot anyhow, but no, thank you. First and foremost, I keep saying that. Yo. The pros. What pros? Pros in the comic book industry are talking about things that we've been talking about. Isn't that interesting? Jill B. Pill in the other room. Jill, hello. Doc Post a lot here. Excellent. Talking Soul was ready to go. Stopping by to show some love. This is Anastasia, if I have the name correct. And she came into my store, I think it was on Saturday, and we had a really great conversation. She had her relatives with her, and they were picking out some stuff, and it was just really good conversation. And she is a YouTube person, and whoa, the beer spreads the word, kind of like a Doc Post a lot. Maybe you guys should find each other. Mr. Snick, what's up? Illithidor says, evening all, the world is falling apart, but at least I got some good comics to pick up this week. Let me tell you. Woo! I've already read some. I'm going to let you know about them. Good, very subjective. It is always very subjective, of course. But, I mean, if I can't thrill you with one of the book, I'm just going to show you a couple books that are coming out. This is an all-ages book. It's through, I think, Robert Kirkman's portion of Image. It's called Scurry by Max Smith. I guess it was a Webtoons sensation. It's got really lavish illustrations. It's for kids. But I'm sure it's going to be, kind of like one of those Bone type situations. Although the action in it looks pretty hardcore. So I would check this out. That's a thing. A lot of people like Robert Kirkman. If you enjoy superhero stories, but are like, yeah, I'm kind of done with seeing the same characters live and get over, all the same old, and you haven't read Kurt Busiek and Brent Anderson with Alex Ross doing the covers, Astro City Volume 3 is getting collected. That comes out for us tomorrow. And then Fantagraphics puts out we'll call it a quarterly, where they have a whole bunch of creators do a comic book called Non. There's always something like this any decade. And then, that company either stops it or dies. Fantagraphics, I'm sure, is fine. There's stuff by Noah Van Sciver in here. Peter Bagg is in here. All sorts of people you probably don't know either. So that's 3 different style books that we're carrying. That there's something that comes out tomorrow, and I don't even carry everything. You're all under arrest. That's right, Duck Tracy. And yeah, I just like to show videos, usually of things from my past or things that tickle me, things that happen on the internet, that I think, there's a lot of people that don't know certain things, and I just, maybe just it's regional. So someday I'm going to do a Go See Cal commercial, or at least a part of it. LK, I just noticed the girls in the middle were pretty good tap dancers, but the girls on the end were not. Poor F. Put an F in the comments for that poor F. Okay, you guys are all talking. Excellent. LK says there is new wrestling on TV now. MLW is on Reels at Fantastic Comics. I also heard that MLW lost a lawsuit against the WWE. I think they feel like they were tapping talent, or poaching talent. I think Tony Khan also said something to that effect in his interview, and also talked about WWE. I don't know if they were talking about Triple H or Vince McMahon. It's always been a long-standing rule that you don't run wrestling in Madison Square Garden. I'm sure there's some sort of mobster that Vince knows. I would recommend not doing it. And definitely you should, ties to him if you're even thinking about doing that. So if Tony Khan's coming out expecting sympathy from me for something like that, happens all the time. Where's the, what was the name of that car? I always bring it up, and now I can't think of the name. It was a movie. Jesus Christ, you always mention this. Anyway, yeah, where's that car? Ford stamped him out, and it's like, a Christian Slater movie, guys. I expect to see it in the comments in just a second. Subscribe. Excellent. If her niece does the comic book and it's half as good as they were talking about it, it will be really fun to read. Another Southern wrestling icon has passed. At least we got Jerry on a good episode of Tales from Territories talking about Memphis wrestling. Anytime those guys are talking about the past and just kind of shooting the shit, it's always really great. And yeah, as far as like, I know he rankles people. Jill and I we don't argue about him, but I know her feelings about Cornette. But it's just like, it's just like John Byrne. It's just like Chris Claremont. It's and then later on, maybe Ed Brubaker, as those guys get older and less, have less cachet and aren't doing things as much. And it's probably just crowdfunded and it's not coming out Tim Truman. Come on, get it out. I know you're old and it takes time. I'm old and it takes time. But you gotta listen to these guys. I didn't near enough talk to my grandmother about the things. It's just tired old stuff from an old lady that's crazy. That sucks. But well, at least we got video. We got shoot videos now. We got people willing to talk because for the longest time you're supposed to kayfabe it for real. AEW needs to they always superimpose. So some of the video of that goes on in Twitter or Instagram is superimposed with Tony Khan's words and other people that work in either the industry or within that company, especially, or Dave Meltzer, sucking them off. Sorry. That's a little inside the store talk. Too much. But they need to train their wrestlers. They can't just go all indie. They can't just take anybody from MLW or anybody that gets to do whatever they want from New Japan. There needs to be a style and an understanding of like, this is what we're doing. And so that there's a cohesiveness so that not everybody's bleeding in the same episode, so that there isn't a hardcore match every episode. So there isn't a stupid stipulation. WWE has their things that they do stupid all the time, but it ain't that. And when it is, it's like glaring, this person's squirting blood in the first match. That can't be right. Cody is not worth getting demonetized. No, but the reason why I use that is because the conversation had been so heavily about Cody getting booed like Daniel Bryan got cheered, or Batista got booed, because we love Sammy like we like Daniel Bryan. And they thought that the crowd was going to really turn, but they did a really good job booking the whole situation and they really just, just really made you want something to happen that you can't wait to have it happen. But Cody also was able to, or the writing, whoever it was able to, take what he had and put it right on Sami Zayn. This is now Sami Zayn's story right now, next Saturday at Elimination Chamber. Cody's is over there. Cody doesn't care if he has to deal with Sami or, but his story is now. And it was really nice because he was able to like divorce himself from that even farther so that nobody's going to have any animosity when he loses to Roman Reigns. You're going to want to see Roman Reigns lose because of what he's going to do to Sami Zayn. So it was worth it this time. Do you know which wrestler last? Oh, I did see that. It was Baron Corbin. Put that one in your hat. How about them Lakers? Well, they beat the Warriors. What are you going to do? Thank you very much that you love my store. It's if you in the video in the very beginning for our store, it was the original shop location, and you could see just how much floor space, and it was a much more than what we are now. We try, we're that really good. We're the lava cake that actually flows out warm as opposed to all the other ones. In a chef's program, we're the egg that comes out runny. It's great. Family quality time in the comic book store, timeless. It is timeless. It's been 30 years since my folks and I kicked it in a shop. Any shop, probably. Or no, you at least went grocery shopping, maybe. All right, guys. Cornette is great, Elithador says. I agree. I mean, I don't always agree with him. He can be... I don't think he's as or as misogynistic as like some people might think. I think he definitely is. He definitely is. Like if I'm here, he's over here, but there's a lot more room to go also. But he does definitely have like specific things that he thinks, makes money. And, it's just like, this is true. This is the thing. And it's like, no, it's not exactly the thing. But, you have lessons that still need to be, paid attention to. There's certain things, like I've been telling Jill for a longest time, the women have such an ability to reuse old storylines. Like you don't want to see old storylines, reused all the time, but it's going to have a different angle when there's a woman, when the women are involved, because the way it used to be in TNA or in WWE when it was bra and panty time, it would be like backstage brawling and panties and you bitch, you slut, you whore, pulling hair and all this other stuff. Definitely gratifying for some reasons, but not for wrestling. And if you want to watch it with somebody, like a woman, it's a lot better now. And I think Jim Cornette kind of can't see past that all the way. Yeah, and what wrestling promoter doesn't have it? It's called paying people. It's getting people to work. Probably the reason why, the union is never going to actually happen. You guys keep me talking on the wrestling. As long as Tony is booking, you'll get smart Mark booking with no rhyme or reason. You definitely get. I feel like WWE will counter program, but Tony hotshots, and it's just really all there is to it. In the beginning of a blood feud between you and me, we'd be bleeding in the very first match. Quite possibly. A death-defying move will occur. There will be a crash and burn, and the next week I'll be out, or you will be out. And it doesn't, come on. You got to build. That's why everybody's waiting for Roman to lose. If he doesn't lose at WrestleMania, can you imagine? That would be I would laugh. I would be like, oh my God, that is so funny. Batista has become beloved now. And funny, Bryan Danielson as well. On AEW. And he had a great match. Guess what he did on that match? He sported blood, as he always did. What is this, the wrestling hour? All right, that's enough. That's right. We need to get... That's... All right, wrestling's over. Thank you guys for talking wrestling. We're going to talk about some new comic books that are coming out tomorrow. And we're going to mix that in with a little bit of reviews. Then we're going to crack the slab. I've got one of my childhood comic books right here. And I sent it in because I wanted to know... It was a very good version of what I thought my childhood collection would be. And so I picked it out. It was an important book, and I wanted to get it slabbed. Now, tonight, whatever it's worth, because it has this extra plastic, it's coming out. We're going to take another one off the grid. Comic book from my childhood. What grade is it? How exciting. A new comic book day, everybody. I'm going to turn this off for symmetry's sake. First up, I'm very excited about this. We have X-Men number 19. It's the first issue of the Brood storyline. It's running through this and Captain Marvel. If you've been reading Captain Marvel previously, she's already been dealing with the Brood. I haven't been reading it because I personally don't like Carol Danvers. And by as many there was a time when I sold Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, like crazy. But it has fallen off quite a bit as of late. Maybe, just maybe, this and Chris Bachalo covers will make Captain Marvel a success for a little while. In the very least, I hope to raise the numbers of that book to X-Men levels. Jerry Duggan, I feel, has been doing a very good job on this book. I haven't read the last... No, actually, I'm caught up. The last issue leads into this one. This is the first one, but you could get the other one. I still have it. Come on in. Next up, we have Batman Beyond the White Knight. For those of you that don't know, my New Year's resolution was I am not reading a Batman book at all this year. Maybe a Justice League book, but not a mini-series that's focused on him or anything that's tightly... there are books that I'm interested in. Andy Diggle wrote a Batman one-shot that came out a couple weeks ago. I'm a big Andy Diggle fan, but not going to read it. Not going to read it. Next up, we have Fantastic Four. Oh, but everybody else is reading this, of course. Sean Murphy. This is the last issue of the storyline. The Murphyverse continues. Fantastic Four number 4. There is a mystery as to why the Fantastic Four are persona non grata in New York right now. And this is the issue that we're going to find out what happens. Beautiful cover by Alex Ross. There's also the I think it's a Reed Richards variant that he does. He's just a master. And he just pumps them out. Such good stuff. And Ryan North is writing a real fun Fantastic Four as far as I'm concerned. Check it out. Oh, Hulk. You deserve so much better than to have to go back to Immortal Hulk. I hope that doesn't happen when this series ends. But Ryan Otley's trying his hands at writing the Incredible Hulk until he goes back and does creator-owned stuff at Image. I like the first issue he wrote by himself, at least as far as the title's concerned. Splash page. If you're reading Sins of Sinister, Storm and the Brotherhood of Evil, or the Brotherhood of Mutants came out last week. This week it's Nightcrawlers, and then next week it will be the next one. I think it's Immoral X-Men. But that's not important. This is important. Cy Spurrier's doing that with, is that Angel Medina? Really? Paco Medina. Oh, maybe it's Paco Medina and all of them. Jeez, he's really working hard. He did the Storm, so I guess, yeah, this might be Paco Medina. Next up, we have a book that we have been waiting over. God, it's been like at least 5 months since the first issue of Swamp Thing Green Hell came out. I think it's even closer to 8 months. But finally, we've got the second and hopefully third issue coming out next month, maybe the month after. But even that would feel like, timely. This is supposed to be Jeff Lemire's last bit of Marvel/DC work for the time being. Of course, he said that all those months ago. Maybe he's changed his tune. But he has like a Substack and his stuff comes out through Image. And, he could do whatever. Jeff Lemire is a great writer. And I love Doug Monkey's artwork. And who doesn't love a Swamp Thing story? So check it out. Oh, Captain Marvel, not the issue that ties in with the X-Men issue. This is the conclusion of the her storyline, and then it will be a little bit more, even though you got Laura Wolverine X-23. That's all one person, by the way. It looks like Hazmat and Psylocke, or not Psylocke, it'd be Quanon. All fighting Brood. And there you go. What's next? Let's turn that off. And we'll go to Iron Man. Iron Man's what's next. I gotta admit, I read the first issue. I didn't hate it. I thought the artwork was good. And I just didn't read the second issue, even though I've had it this whole time. Again, I can tell by the sales in the store, there are less people that care about it come the second issue. Go figure. I don't know. Maybe you should check this out. I've got this. I've got reprints of number 1. It's like I said, it looked really good. Jerry Duggan. If you're liking X-Men, you might want to check this out. Or maybe you are like me and you just you want to see Tony Stark drunk again. Make Tony Stark drunk again. From Brian Haberlin, he is not doing the art, but this is his cover. Comes The Last Barbarians, which is a Shadowline comic, which is Jim Valentino's section of Image. And it looks like he's just hoping. I'm making this up. That he might care. He wants to get another Rat Queens under his belt. But, we haven't really had a super great fantasy comic book in quite a while. Maybe I'm missing something. I guess, no, not really. Anyway, Last Barbarians. The art inside didn't match as hard as the art on the cover. I am interested in the story. It follows this young woman who has, a giant brother, and they're looking to gain work, but she's not a part of a guild. So it's like, all right, you got some fantasy aspects going on. It feels a little, she's a thief and she's a bard and whatever the hell she is, all right, cool, I can get this. And she's got this hulking, brooding, probably low on the spectrum brother, I assume. And all right, cool, it's caring for family. This is let's get this fantasy story going. So I'm checking it out. Wildcats I already read. I know there's people out there that don't like this. I do. And the only thing that can make it better is if he was wearing Seth Rollins' Astro Boy boots, I think. Let's see. All right. Frank Miller's presents his Pandora book with Emma Kubert. Oh, wait, sorry. That's not supposed to happen. That's supposed to happen. This is number 2. We sold out of number 1. It's cheaper than the very first issue, so that's a bonus. So you should definitely pick this one up. I'm getting new number 1s hopefully soon. So, yeah, there you go. And next up we have Marvel Voices, Wakanda Forever, number 1. Marvel Voices, Marvel Identity, Marvel Pride, all used to be oh, this is the Latino issue, so we get all the Latino heroes together. Or, Pride, obviously. We get the gay characters, the LGBTQ plus characters, and we put them all in a book. And then they've done it with, black characters, because, it's not always just African Americans or anything like that. They've done other things. But now Marvel just seems to have given up. They're just going to fuck it. We're just going to do Wakanda. It's, it's close enough to a real thing. We're just, I hope everybody that works on this book is Wakandan. I gotta bring something in here really quick. It's okay, I marked everything. It's like, God, man, seriously, they're gonna do another one. They're gonna do a Marvel Voices, and it's gonna be Spider-Verse. Now it's still gonna be like I have no problem with this. As far as like, I'm just saying it to explain it. They're gonna have all these same diverse characters like they did, but they're just gonna make sure they're ones from the frickin' Spider-Verse. It's like, what? And then here's my last two books. These are also going to have reviews. Very quick. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I am going to get into it a little bit. Definitely on the second one. First up, we have Danger Street number 3. I'm sorry. Oh, I already like this cover. I'm going to take the banner down so you can see it all, or at least most of it. I'll change this one too. Subscribe and hit the thumbs up and bell for notifications. Follow us on Patreon if you want to be a monetary donator. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Substack. It's funny stuff that our boy Eugene works on. And if you really just want to throw some money our way, we have a PayPal account. But, that's not important. The Substack is important. The being a member of the program here is important. We just want to, have some fun together. So, Danger Street, Talking Soul. Let me go to the chat really quick. Let me see really quick. Dugan's X-Men has been the least bad of the 3 X-Men books. Although there was a good Immortal X-Men that I read. Is that what it's called? The one with Kieran Gillen. It was the one where Sinister keeps using all the Moira's lives to try and kill the Council. Liked it a lot. Another great cover wasted on Orion North book. Oh, his first 3 issues have been good, and he even referenced, and not in a pandering way, not in a great way, and there could have been something that he could have done to make it a little bit more solid, just in the placement of it. But overall, he did a really good job as far as maintaining some cool classic Fantastic Four storylines, just not with all of them in the same one. If Yule said he didn't hate it, that means it's pretty good. Exactly. John Burkhart says, I love more Rat Queens. Yeah. I don't think Dude's heart was in it. Like if you read a Jim Zub D&D or his Skull Kickers, you know that dude's 100% a gamer and loves the fantasy genre. Whereas I think Curtis Wiebe, he's just kind of a tumbleweed and can kind of figure out what type of story needs to be told at that time. Comics I'm getting this week, assuming, all right, excellent. 8 Billion Genies, 7 Nightclub 3. Yes. Batman The Adventures Continues. Yes. Nemesis Reloaded. Yes. Dahlia in the Dark. Excellent. I have not caught up entirely with Joe's book, but I reread the first issue and half of the second issue, and he does a really good job. And I'm thinking to myself, like, seriously, I know this is like a stroke right here, but if he got the editor to notice him and read Dahlia in the Dark, he could pull. I mean, I would love to hear his pitch for. I would say, hey, Joe, pitch me a Punisher. Pitch me a Black Widow. Can you pitch me both of them and make them different? Because I think those, he's doing some really cool action stuff. I'm not a gunplay person, but I think he's doing a really good job there. 3 days and the Astro Boy boots can be yours. And what, like $350? Jill. DS2, Danger Street 2 starts as always with a Dr. Fate's helmet, bringing us back to where we just left off. And it's described that the princess is consulting the sages, and Tom King's, being cute like he is, or like he does. And she's looking at Google for blue superheroes. She redefine, she's trying to find the killer of one of the dingbats. But the thing is that it's a sad thing that happened. But there were like even more important consequences that occurred that night in the desert. And here she is trying to print up all pictures of all the blue men. And, this is where Tom King does his, get a little bit mundane as far as, there's toner and why isn't this printing and kind of wasting time. But he does it in another scene later on. And it just kind of is like, more like a manga story where you're looking at pictures of things that are going on and then you're hearing the narration of something else. And so at least we have this to play, back to. And Jorge Forne is doing some amazing illustrations. I'm going to illustrate that at the end to you. But next up, we have Metron, and he's talking to the High Father and Darkseid, who are brothers. They've been warring forever, but they have to get together and kind of plan the future, I guess. And Metron is going about telling them how he approached the Source Wall, and the only way to get through the Source Wall is to be dead. But recently, some things have happened, and I'm assuming that's all the stuff that happened in the first issue. There's a hole, and Metron was able to go through. Most people that go through would go, oh shit. Most people would go crazy. And of course, Metron did. And that would also explain why he was being a little Tom King-y in his wording when he was speaking to Darkseid and trying the patience of the High Father. So, artfully done, Tom King. And with this art, just amazing. Lady Cop shows all the pictures of different blue people to this cop that, saw, I think it's a cop that saw a car drive off from the desert. Oh no, it's a gas station attendant. And he's like, yeah, that's the guy. And then the last issue or page here is, she's talking to him, and he's just having this little conversation with her. And I just really enjoy the art and the way it plays out here. And it's very well done. And this comic series is very well done. Talking Soul thinks this is the comic book of the year. Definitely in these 3 issues, it is comic book of the year. Where I think Tom King usually goes astray is towards the end, or that part where, that something has to happen and then everything else has to play out from it, whether it's Guy Gardner getting frozen and shattered in Human Target, or Batman not actually getting married in Batman. I enjoy the fact that he's trying to do something here, And it doesn't read like all his other stuff, even though there's all the typical Tom King elements in this comic you would expect. Hopefully it doesn't get too crazy. And it just keeps, introducing these awesome characters that have never really been used before. And he's placing them in the story so that they connect so well. And you don't get upset because it's, a beloved character from the last 20 years. These are characters that were throwaway, and you can do almost anything with them. And if anybody says they love Metamorpho, I don't care. So, Danger Street number 3, I've sold out of number 1. I've sold out of number 2. I've reordered number 1 and 2, and I've got number 3 in. And I expect to sell out of it because I haven't adjusted my numbers yet. It is part of the Yule Club, where if you buy all of the issues, it's going to be 12, and you have to be caught up with them. So you have to get caught up and be able to talk to me about it with with me at the store. You get $5 credit at the end for whatever you want. Woo. Woo. It also counts for Spy Superb, Joe Fix-It. Those are smaller series. And it also counts for the Dead Boy Detectives, which is also another smaller series. You can get all 4 of them, try a title, but you got to keep up and you got to get them all. And you got to be able to, I can quiz you. I think I'm going to play it differently the next grouping of comics. But Danger Street is fantastic so far. I'm really, really enjoying it. And one last comic book because Sick Media, who is sometimes in the chat, let's see if he is. Danger Street is awesome. Anticipating Lady Cop's next move. I didn't blow anything. I didn't show you anything with Warlord or Starman. I didn't show you anything with the Creeper. So you got a lot of, everybody gets addressed. All the stuff with the Dingbats is just so nice and lazy and very reminiscent of being a kid. How is he going to humiliate and tear down the JLI this time? Different book. Have you figured out what issues he's trying to work out instead of talking to a therapist? No, I think this might actually be the one where we don't have to, think about it that way. I feel like this is him. Why can't I be Tarantino? How about that? But you know what? Tarantino's not going to be Tarantino anymore either. So, Jasper Plan 9. Hello, chat. Hello, you all. All right, hi. Mark McGrath. Most of these characters were used during the New Krypton Superman era and Dingbats during New 52. When you say New Krypton, was that when Greg Rucka was writing it? Like Starbird or Starfire and Nightbird or whatever, Nightwing. Dingbats during the New 52. Was that a Keith Giffen book? I can't remember. Or was it? Yeah, but not. All right. Very good, though. But not like this. Definitely not interconnected and definitely not with as much time spent on them. Even in the beginning, it was just one issue. But yes, I will look into that because I don't remember which issues. I need an artist to start a comic. Well, I know a guy that can. He's like, I could AI a picture and then send it to an artist that, on Fiverr or whatever, and they will immediately know what I want. Hopefully they can fix the fingers. Eli's here. Why, hello. How are you? Am I making the poor people read Tom King? You did know damn well it's gonna suck. I hope I read that well. Yes, I don't know damn well. I would. All right, so maybe I would feel a little bit different. So I already feel it feels like a Quentin Tarantino film, but in even that scene that I liked, it was like that pullback thing. And it feels like it's not even Tarantino. It's when they did all those other people that were doing Tarantino-like movies, you know? So, everybody's got to do it 6 days in the whatevers, you know, and stuff like that. It's hot. It's popular. Let's, mix this stuff up and cut it up, and everything. But I mean, when I say Tarantino, though, I'm feeling like the bouncing around of the characters, obviously, but there's like a strong emotional. He can really get to the heart of the matter real well. Often Tom King can, at least for the people that like his stuff, and I think he's doing a really good job here also. But yeah, I really like those last. I don't remember. Oh, good. Talking Soul doesn't remember it either. Let's see. I'm Behind. Scurry was released as a deluxe slipcase edition on Kickstarter a while back. Go figure. I knew what I was getting into when I saw that it was a Webtoons comic book, though. Nonetheless, that's good. Hopefully not everybody not everybody knows about that. Not everybody wants to pay the money. I'm not too worried too often about it. I've seen pros talking about pros. Let me put the banner up. Oh yeah, here we go. This is things we're going to talk about. We're going to crack the slab in just a minute. I still have another book. Yeah. Oh, right. I have one more book. Okay, great. All right. Let's not talk about me. Last up we have, that's what it is. Last up we have Icon versus Hardware. Now, for some reason, Sick Media wanted me to review this, and I'm not exactly sure what he expected from me reading this. First up, Reginald Hudlin writes it. I had a buddy, Alan. He was not a Reginald Hudlin fan, but Reggie was able to bring us the Boondocks on BET, I do believe it was. He also, I feel, wrote a really good Black Panther, especially the one when they went into New Orleans, and it was during like the Hurricane Katrina stuff, and it was like all the black superheroes, and like in an Avengers Quinjet, and I thought it was, I like that one a lot. I shouldn't think so much. Leon Chills, not a writer I know, but I assume it's one of the writers that there was a Milestone talent search, and a lot of the artists and writers that are going to be working on the next bit of Milestone books, Milestone things, are going to be from that. All right. So, part one. There's 3 characters that are important in this book. We got Icon and Rocket. That's 2 people. This is Rocket. She's the little black girl, and she's narrating as though in a book. So I'm not I don't have a problem with that. She's talking about in her journal. And I would expect, this would be something that a person of color might say, that like everybody here is white. I mean, she says there's Asians, there's some other people, but overall it's white. And I'm in a school that's surrounded by snow. And even the halls are just like, built. And it just feels like it's, coming down on her. And, she's been sent to go to school here by Augustus, which is Icon. Meanwhile, Hardware is trying to figure out anything he can about Icon, and he does some searching, gets into some government databases, is tracking all these people whose lives kind of just like, stop, and new people prop up. And as he's doing that, his computer, his POP, I think is what it's called, is talking to him and is like, hey, you better get the hell out of there, because he gets exploded on in there, and whoever he was tracking knows about him, and his life is in danger, it sounds like. And this is Icon, and he's kissing some lady up in the sky. And there's a plane and some kid can see. Now, the art is vacillating between, or oscillating, I don't know, between Dennis Cohen and Yasmin Flores Montanez. So that's something for y'all. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong book. So yeah, they're kissing, and there's conversation between him and this woman, and all about trust issues. And that's pretty much all that we really get from Icon. And there's more stuff in the school. I really enjoyed this scene where Rocket stands up for her and her girl. You know, they got the mean girls stuff going on. And I assume there's going to definitely be a kind of person that's going to want to read this book, or at least this part in this book. I'm just not exactly sure if they're going to actually want to read all the other aspects of this book. And I'm also not sure if the people that want to see Icon and Hardware butt heads against each other, Rocket not being a superhero. She's being a superhero here for sure, but she's not superheroing. And with all the other investigations and, you know, I don't know, I'm kind of feeling it misses its mark just a little bit. And then, yeah, this is more of that scene. I didn't take a picture of that. All right, now this is where the book kind of turns. There's this scene where he talks about this gentleman named Benjamin Banneker. And I don't know who Benjamin Banneker is. And it seems like he was an inventor, and he was he wrote, and he did, you know, intellectual pursuits. He talked with Thomas Jefferson before the founding of the country, and blah, blah, blah. Could you imagine? And those are just the things we know that he did. Could you imagine all the things that we don't know about? Yeah, that's how this kind of comes about. And I'm like, all right, I'm not really into reading history lessons that aren't about this story. And I feel like I know what's going to happen in the future issues, and we'll get to that in just a second. So Hardware goes in this like government catacombs where there's, you know, the Indiana Jones boxes at the end of the movie, and he finds one, but he's attacked, and he thinks he's trying to like get away with Icon's spaceship, okay, that brought him here, because he found out he's an alien. So he takes it, he gets back to his pad, and then he finds out that he has the time machine, the instructions to make a time machine by Benjamin Banneker. And I'm like, all right, so we get this history lesson for this guy, right? Real dude. Wikipedia. Naturalist. Awesome. I love a naturalist. Mathematician. Astronomer. Almanac author. All these things. Time hopper. All right, whatever. Hardware uses it. He goes back in time and does all this stuff. I would check this out if you're interested in history. Maybe some history. If you want to be learned to when you're reading your comic book. I don't have a problem learning things. It's fine. But I mean, how ham-fisted was that? I'm going for Icon's spaceship, and I'm thinking about this guy, and I'm going to actually end up with his shit. It's like fucking Richie Rich cartoons. his inventor guy is like, oh, here's some roller skates that spit acid. And it's just that moment, later on in the episode where he needs roller skates that spit acid or whatever. And it's like, come on. I mean, Jesus. Can you not do it that way? So there's going to be this time hopping stuff. And I don't know if like history is going to be changed or what, but there was, Sick Media and we were talking about this before, where we saw the advertisements for, the Milestone season 2, what we're getting for, this storyline. And there's like Malcolm X, and there's, forgive me, the Black Panther guy. There's Martin Luther King Jr. And on and on and on. All these guys. Maybe a woman. I don't remember. Aretha Franklin. I don't remember. Important people. Black important people. And it looks like this storyline is going to do a lot of time hopping. And Rocket's going to be on her own. And maybe she'll have to use some... I hope. Oh, my God. Please be like Project A-ko or something, where one of the white girls has like super mech. And then Rocket needs to use her super mech. And she says, I'm gonna knock the white off you or something. It was an okay book. Sick Media. It felt a little ham-fisted. And I don't think I really would expect I would enjoy 5 more issues of that. Ryan says, ham-fisted. Have you read Marvel lately? Oh my God. What is happening? You drifted off. Exactly. Alternating. That would be very good. Yes, that would have been the word. The Black Panther guy is T'Challa. Oh, you guys. I do love old school Cowan. This is great. Good art. Excellent art. The school scenes are a little softer, but it's understandable. The thing is that I actually really enjoyed the Rocket scenes more. Like school life for her, just felt like it was an actual story that they could have, given us instead. Like they wanted to do those young adult comic books where they put Batman in a love triangle with Catwoman and young, in high school, Catwoman and Batgirl, or Robin and whoever the hell it is. It doesn't matter. Or Aquaman. And, it's just going to force this stuff. Not that it's a problem, but, they have like an Asian Green Lantern. This Asian Green Lantern doesn't have a comic book or has never been in the comic book. But Rocket is in the comic book. And that story would be a young adult story that I think, oh, she's having problems at school. She's having problems relating. It's not just because she's black. She's been with a white girl and they're getting along just fine. On and on and on. It's just like that would be a young adult story that when she yells at them and she's like, I'm going to the bitch, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, I like that. It was really good. Reggie, you're doing a good job if it's you. But so much of the other stuff, I had to go back. I'm like, why did he bring up Benjamin Banneker? And I still don't remember the reason. Because he's going to be brought up. That's why. All right. It's time, everybody. I know this is what you're waiting for. This is what everybody comes to the show for. This is what we like to call Crack the Slab. I can't stand CGC. It makes you spend way more money than you need to on eBay items, and I don't like when people come into the store thinking that they're selling raw stuff to me at CGC prices. And CGC's grading isn't flawless. Their protection isn't flawless. all the reasons that you get it for, I think, are fictional. I've mentioned in the past, and I think I never finished the story about the Red Letter Media guys and how they got this one tape. Jill will let you know in the comments what it's called. Everybody sends them these tapes. So they're like the owners of like all of the tapes of this movie. And there's grading for videotapes now. If it's in plastic and it's never been touched, they give it, the grade. It's good. All right. So it's the best grade possible. A magnet runs over that and it doesn't matter. It was never good because it's not the thing that you think. It's a blank tape. You know what I mean? So that is exactly how Kirk gets dates, by the way. So all the reasons why we get CGC are just, it's like the currency of it's not pounds of gold anymore. When we go purely digital, will it matter? The thing is, though, the thing about these comics, I understand preservation, right? But it's just not, that's the only reason. But these are, look at my comic book from my youth. Okay. I've had this book. This came out in 1984. I was 14 years old. Okay. My book, ever since I was a little kid, and I read this, came back in 94. Right there. Now, I did get this graded so that I could have an understanding of what I felt would be all of my comic books. And it was an important issue. I mean, it's the first Nightwing. You get the origin of Deathstroke and Jericho right here. Everything. You get the history of Slade's wife right here in this book. It's an important book. This is a very important book. And I'm taking it off the grid right now. And I am solo, so I don't have to worry about... Sorry, guys. Let me try that again. There we go. So I'm just gonna see if I don't need my hammer. Oh, yeah. There we go. I mean, how impressive is a comic collection if it's just behind a piece of plastic? You know what I mean? You're like, fuck, you really took care of your comics as a kid. I'm like the guy in Mallrats. You're like, you lost your privileges touching my comics way back in the 3rd grade, buddy. Huh. Look at that. They don't even put it in plastic back when I did this. I had no idea. Here, let me fix this camera. Wow. I had no idea that there wasn't plastic in here. I don't feel like I was going for. I'm glad I didn't use the hammer on this. Hold on a sec. All right, so this is my comic book right here. It said it had off-white pages. Let me see. It says, oh no, it says white pages. I'm sorry. Here, this is good. Talking Soul always talks about paper not being put in the comic books. Anyway, well, it was a 9.4. It's still a 9.4. Still a 9.4. But I didn't know about pressing back then. So, you know, maybe it could be better. I've read that issue a bunch, let me tell you. This is going to fall. There we go. Now I got it. And then it falls. I've read this issue a ton of times. Not this one, because we had multiple copies. So I am kind of, this is the best one of the bunch that I had. But I mean, 9.4 is a good grade, but I had a 9.4 Spider-Man. And it had like a hole in it. And, you know, I understand that there's a bunch of factors that go into, you know, grading a comic book. But CGC definitely has things that they don't like. And then there's other things that I feel they're way over forgiving. And also, you should love your comic books a little bit more. And I think, with the exception of, you know, some of the reasons why people might get them, I just don't really love it. I want to touch these comic books, you know, to be able to. New Teen Titans is the perfect team book, Jasper says. Well, it's definitely one of them. I've sold a lot of the collections. It's a shame when they're not in print. I have the Omnibuy in my possession, bottom shelf. Danny Chase is horrible. For anybody that read that far, George Perez is a god. There was a time when I felt like he was stiff, and I thought a lot of that was probably in the Teen Titans and, you know, his early days. As he got older, his Avengers is amazing. His second run on Avengers, like, I think we were getting really great George Perez at that time. He also was working with a good inker that worked with him at the time. I think it was Alvey. And yeah, I mean, George Perez is a master, and the things that he does really super well. He does really super well, and he's an all-time great. His New Teen Titans is, oh man, one of my all-time favorites, and I hope it can still remain that way. And I really, you know, when we see that comic companies aren't like, how about, you know, Marvel Voices, and, you know, get people from your past to do something. This is a story about John Byrne. You know, it's a shame when they die, and then you're like, oh, you gotta, you know, you gotta put something in the magazine. You know, you have to. But we all know it's true that Dark Knight Returns sells. You know, I want to be like, oh yeah, that's a great Batman book, but have you read this one? But more often than not, I sell The Dark Knight Returns. So to not keep that in print, to not keep Watchmen in print, to not keep Craven's Last Hunt in print, to not keep the first 12 issues of Spider-Man always in print, you know, to whatever form it is that you're doing it, if you put it out, you should put it out. All right, we've got a new segment on the show. Well, it's not really a segment as much as I would like to welcome a guest to the show. He's been here before. He's here often. but this is the first time I've had anything for him.
Why? You couldn't even pitch one inning. What's your name? I want you. It's Eugene. You're a great pitcher. Oh, thank you.
All right, that's enough. It's Eugene, everybody. Crank it or yank it. We're talking about whether or not we're going to keep comics in our store or if we're going to give them away for free. No, that's not what we're talking about. Something along those lines. If it has Landry's name in it, we have to keep it. Okay? Okay? You understand? Oh, it's Green Lanterns. Never mind. Are those hardcovers? I don't want to keep them. You can bring them all in. You can bring them all in. All the Green Lanterns, yeah. New Guardian Green Lanterns. This is the keeping this. So as we were moving locations, my buddy here took a lot of the stuff that, well, if we had to leave it behind, we were going to leave it behind. But we didn't have to because he put it in his joint. But now he doesn't want it in his joint anymore. So we got to do something about it. So if any of these are interesting to you, you can email us at contact@fantasticcomics.net. Just look at our website or Instagram. I've been dealing with a couple of people, new people on Instagram. These are all great. Jeff Johns, Doug Monkey. We just saw him in the Swamp Thing. Yeah, Billy Tan. Great stuff. I enjoyed these. I like Venditti. I think he's pretty good. All right, good. All right, we're going to be having some new Green Lantern, new old Green Lantern, new 52 Green Lantern hardcovers. They're going to be discounted, and you should come on in and get those. We also did, I don't know, Eugene, did you know that we did a magazine buy? This guy came in with 3 boxes, and he had a ton of Conan, Savage Sword. So anywhere from $1 to $3 on those. There's also some Bizarre Adventures. There's Eerie and a few other things. So check out our magazines that we have for cheap. All right. I have to fix that Eugene video. Oh, did you see Don Simpson has done it? Oh, it's Don Simpson did that, did he? That's great. I'm glad somebody did that. Yeah, I watched Cartoonist Kayfabe, and I'm a little upset that I can't get some of the things that they, they let people know about. Now, I understand there's the kayfabe effect and that you want to be let in on it early so that you can get it before all the people like me who aren't, patrons of theirs. But how can this stuff not be available, not be in print? It's just the ones that are doing all the image retrospectives or the making fun of image stuff, just too good. Jasper Plan 9 says DC keeps Watchmen in print for perpetuity to spite Alan Moore. If it goes out of print, it reverts back to Moore. To spite him or to keep making a shit ton of money. Because if it's to make a shit ton of money, and the other thing is that Alan Moore, he's thrown away all the money that, he's like, I'm done collecting money on this stuff. And he's like, he gave it to Dave Gibbons. You can have this shit. I'm done dealing with these fuckers. But I don't know if it's to spite him. The way they've done him, in one regard, it's like it's uplifted him, all the way up here. They don't do this for any other person. Marvel lets their Jack Kirby comics go out of print. They let their Steve Ditko comics go out of print. But here's Alan Moore. 1984 could do no wrong, So, it just depends on how you look at it, I guess. I mean, it's a shame. I feel bad that he didn't get it the way he wanted. We shouldn't. The corporations, they could have worked with him. They could have figured out a thing. But he wanted it to be pure. And the thing is it was never going to be pure. Let's see. Inside baseball, according to Shane Day. Well, inside. No Green Valleys. Thank you very much. I draw the line at Rick and Morty. Now, not shelving ABC is how DC spites Alan Moore. Well, Alan Moore did one to them. So when he was done with League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which he was going to take with him, his last contractually obligated book of that run was the one shot that he did. And it was a $24.95 cover with different covers. So he had a variant cover for a hardcover. And it had 3D. And it had 3D glasses. And there was all sorts of other stuff about it that like messed it up. Like it was never going to be able to make any money for DC. So hilarious. I don't want it. Oh wait, what is it? Bring one, burn the others, okay? Oh wait, there's more than one. What volume is that? 3? Of course. Yeah, bring one of each. Burn the others. Make it more valuable. And Fabian Moon, fantastic brother artists. By Day Tripper. Like Adidas, they are trying to how to sell Yeezys without paying him licensing fees. Oof. I think it's bent, and I don't really care. It looks bent. There are more than enough copies of Watchmen in print, so yeah, it's partially. Well, that might be true now too. The Black Dossier is exactly the one I was talking about. Yeah. DC is putting out an absolute edition of for Vendetta this year. I think it's 100% for the money, and Spite is just gravy on that. That's probably how I look at it. Also, like if they can like just stick it to him a little bit more, that's fine. But first and foremost is lining their pockets, and as we've seen, the things that are selling more often than not are those old things. The John Byrne collections of Fantastic Four, the Chris Claremont X-Men, some of the key titles. Like why don't we never had a comprehensive collection of the Joe Mad X-Men run? He did more than enough issues to where they could have something. Maybe an omnibus form, but something a little bit more a little bit more cheap. A little cheaper. Let's talk about my talking about another box. Seriously? All right, let's do it. Excuse me. I gotta get rid of some of these pictures. Hold on a sec. All right, now we're gonna do it. Timing on the show. Oh, I didn't do that one. Shit. Oh, that pissed me off. Okay, yeah, let me show you this. I'll do that one. And then where is... So pros. These are the pros talking about journalism and comic books. And the person that did it, I don't know if anybody's paying it. Oh, wait, let's see. One real quick question. Ewell, what DC work do you think is worthy of an absolute that have yet to be offered in that format? Well, I don't think anybody's going to be buying the really good ones. I'm very happy that they did the question volume 1. They don't ever have to do a second one. I'm assuming they've done Gotham Central. Maybe like Shade. It would probably be some Vertigo stuff. So like Shade the Changing Man. Maybe they could do like a Milligan. With they don't do Enigma, but who Dark Horse does now. But something like that. On writer. They did Invisibles. They've done the Doom Patrols, and they've done Animal Man. So Grant Morrison's been taken care of on that. But yeah, I'd probably do like Shade the Changing Man, but I don't think that would really sell. I would really like to see. I was in my head, and I went to the other stuff instead. But yeah, that would be it just things go to other companies. So like IDW, I think it is, does the Shadow, or maybe that's Dynamite does the Shadow. So even saying DC's the Shadow, just it's not that anymore. Those are very good also. Not sure if you keep those, but DC is doing an absolute edition of Preacher and a second volume Omni of. Oh man, yeah, the Grant Morrison Green Lantern with Sharp. Yeah, those would be good. Those would be nice absolutes for sure. The Sandman Mystery Theater is fantastic. I didn't know they did volume 1, so that's a bit of a shame. I want an omnibus of Legends of the Dark Knight from the 90s. Yeah, that'd be good. I wouldn't read it this year though. You think? I don't know if it would, Battle Buddy. And I know you love Bachelor, but Darwin Cook's The Spirit would be nice. I agree. Things I would want collected aren't available to be collected. So Atari Force, I would want collected. Same thing for Micronauts at Marvel. Things like that. But probably never see those. So get your issues and crack that slab. All right, let's talk about these fools. Brian Hitch. I like Brian Hitch quite a bit. He did the Ultimates. He worked with Paul Neary, who did all sorts of great stuff in the 90s when I was reading Marvel. He did the Authority. Hitch did. He's been doing Venom recently, and very zero of them. Okay. You hear? Oh, wait. Let me see that Straczynski one. Yeah, when you figure it out, let me know which one's Straczynski. It says it right there. That's the one. That's it. Very good. All right. What did Brian Hitch say? Brian Hitch said, "Are there any good comics news sites anymore that aren't just either fan fiction or opinion based rather than just reporting actual news and developments without comment? Are there?" I'm going to go back to that Ohio TikTok guy talking about Ohio. And he was talking about how the news is disseminated.
And then news outlets just repeat the same. So all we're hearing is the responsible party's word.
That's all we're hearing when it comes to comic books from any of these news sites. It has been for a long time. There have been some people that have tried to be objective. But the thing is that nobody, Black Ring, yes. Nobody is going out there and actually, pounding the pavement for a story, potentially getting arrested like somebody on the ground, in comic books. There's no real reporting when it comes to games, and never was. There might have been an illusion of it, but we've always been just shilling for the companies. Now, the thing that separates, let's say I wanted to say, I'm trying to give you information, something to, some knowledge. That doesn't mean I'm not news. I'm not even it's my opinion. Bring those. We'll do the Urusai Yatsuras. Yeah. Yeah. Lum. That's what we like to call it here. Right? Lum. That's what it's called. Back in the day, it was Lum. Regular show? Yeah, why not? 3 and 4? Sure, why not? I can't say yes anymore. And anyhow, why do I talk to him? Why did I let him in here? Heidi McDonald, my friend. No, I'm just joking. Heidi McDonald, we try a comics beat. I do throw commentary in based on my experiences, but try to be transparent about it. I'd also recommend Publishers Weekly, Comics News Section, Popverse, ICV2. Bill Willingham even said ICV2. But I want to play for you a clip from my buddy Wes at Thinking Critical, whose show Comics Aficionados I was on this last Saturday. Well, this was one of his videos, and I had no idea that he was going to be saying what he said. And I was like, what? And this is
so
what
I did want to talk about this interaction between Yul Carter, comic book retailer in Berkeley, California, and Heidi McDonald.
God damn it. Blah, 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 blah. Talking about the Heidi McDonald stuff from the last few weeks. We talked about it. Just trust me, it exists. I got to figure out something. Anyhow, Bill Willingham, ICV2 still exists. I love the Elementals. I love his work. Fables. They have some dispassionate comics news, general pop culture reporting. It's hardly comprehensive, though, but nothing is. And that's kind of like the conversation that goes on. Oh, there's a customer of mine, Andrew. He kind of says, things aren't perfect. But that was kind of what Arant said last week. If you're waiting for perfect, you're never going to get there. I'm waiting for one person to spill the beans before they're all over the goddamn floor. That's what I'm waiting for in comics. I'm not waiting for your goddamn review of a comic before it came out. I don't care about your speculation of what's going to be hot or what was the swipe or what was, what's the horrible thing that Greg Land did. That's not anything. His swiping in art is not news. You want to let me know about the things that the comic book industry wants me to know about. But if you're going to call yourself journalists, you could do some journalism, do some investigating. And ICV2, they do that. They look at numbers. They put those things down. But they were a shill for WotC. And WotC, which is Wizards of the Coast, had a really, really bad last couple of weeks to the point where news sites, CNN, the finance parts of those places, the Motley Fool, are paying attention to Hasbro because they've lost so many subscribers from Dungeons and Dragons because they've stepped in it, both feet, so bad that they've left their shoes in the shit. And even though they've gone back on stuff, and they had ICV2 totally, towing the company line. They're disseminating the news that the company, and they're fully on board. I got into an argument with somebody on Twitter, and all I was saying was, I don't understand why we just don't move along to something else like we always did back in the day. And I was like, I'm grandpa talking about something bad. And now you saw Pathfinder. You saw those Critical Role people. You saw all these people that were going to be doing stuff with the OGL, which is a big old thing that we really haven't gotten into a conversation with here. But basically, it's something that used to be for the people that was being taken away from the people by the company that was making a shit ton of money because of the people. And they said, well, fuck you, we're gone. And then every news analyst, that deals with money is like, oh my God, look at this. People actually said, fuck cable, and they left. Fuck the streaming networks, and they left. And that's what happened here. It's like there's Monopoly. There's a game called Life. There's Magic the Gathering. And then there's Dungeons and Dragons. And that's it for them. They don't make money on their other stuff. And they wanted to exploit us. And, we see that in comics a lot where we're getting exploited. And that's like the reason why I was like conversing with Heidi about, variant cover schemes and manga and Telgemeier and Dogman, and how when we say that comics are doing great, we're only saying those things are doing great, and we're accepting, we're putting Spider-Man and Batman and all the other things that we see in the comic store lumped together with that. And the thing is that we're seeing these things do so well. But on my Instagram this week, and it's everything I can do to not say something, I see a post by Image, and they're loving Barnes & Noble's displays and how they're saying buy one, get one free of these Image comics. And there's 5 screenshots, I only have 4, of oh my God, look at that. What store has a ton of Sea of Stars and Crowded and all the East to West and Saga and all the Spawns and all the... Dude, I only have 3 and 4 of regular show. The dirty secret that doesn't get said here, and I understand when people say, well, if you can get comic books in other areas, that's good for the store. Well, these are the things that the stores might be selling, but they're also not things that are going to drive people to the store because there ain't no more Crowded. There ain't no more Walking Dead. Saga rarely comes out in trade, and East to West is over. And, and the dirty secret, like I said, or I've alluded to, is all those books are returnable. If I was to buy that in a store, they're not returnable for me. Barnes & Noble has them returnable. Guaranteed. They always do. They don't buy things if they can't return them. They return things all the time. When Barnes & Noble had Marvel Masterworks in their stores, this was 2004, 2007, something like that. They had Marvel Masterworks soft covers, and they said Barnes & Noble down the spine. Barnes & Noble is allowed to return those back to the distributor, to Marvel. They have to deal with that. That's their deal. Because they can buy in volume for all their stores, they have to have returnability. When I bought from Diamond a Marvel Masterworks softcover, I got one in the shop with the Barnes & Noble logo on it. Sure, of course, Barnes & Noble can run a comic store out, but when you go and buy there, when you go and buy on Amazon, hope you want something in the future. Alex DeCampi replied to Brian Hitch, no, there is no comics reporting that's worth a shit. Tom Brevoort up at the top says, sadly, not really. And then all the people that responded to him that aren't people that I know agreed. There's no journalism in comic books. Don't expect any. Just shell media. If there's a wrestling tab in your comic book news site and movies and all that other stuff, it's when they put commercials in on the news. I heard there was a time they didn't do that. There was a time when there weren't advertisements in the newspaper. We'll let it in a sports section. It's okay. Sports and leisure. Those men want to know about, grills that are on sale and power tools and stuff like that. to all porno sites. Call 1-900 numbers. Not a question about media, but something that media in comic books for the longest time has not talked about. And when they did, they usually attacked the people that mention it. Rob Liefeld says, it's not just me talking about it on a podcast. Superhero Comics, ICB2 says, are in a creative rut. Who, if anyone, will fly to the rescue? I say better late than never. People have been saying this for years. It's true. People have been saying this for years. Wait, what is that? What is that? Turn the cover. Thank what? Wizard is not a journalistic piece. Again, it's just a shill media site, right? I mean, it's there was always if you listen to the Joe Casey interview, you'll know that just like the rankings of the writers and the artists are it's just Marvel's hot right now, and so they do it to get readers and stuff like that. I do like having those little silly conversations, and it belongs in a magazine like Wizard. I think the closest that we got is the Urinal Comics Journal. Look, Wizard tried. They wanted to keep their stuff, in the hands of readers. The problem is that now we have these websites and they have to get the news immediately and the cover, and it's going to everything like that. Whereas this is slower and you have time to digest it along with the other things that you get. And there isn't 90 titles a month. And you have this, and there's a little bit of Valiant, there's a little bit of Image, there's a little bit of Dark Horse, a little bit of Marvel, there's an expose on Joe Quesada, it's a little bit of DC. There's not near as much DC as there is of this. People argue about stuff, but it's cool and it gets conversation going. But that is not news. But I do like it. I do like being able to see what people said and then extrapolate, some information, maybe glean some things that are secret that you shouldn't know, or maybe this is the proof that this is where it happened when Rob Liefeld and Todd McFarlane really hated each other, and they were the first ones to other than Scud the Disposable Assassin, they were the first people to really, want to put actors in, they fantasy booked movies, and it was good stuff. DC and Marvel, that was what the Aficionados was all about Saturday. Basically, it was like Marvel sucks. Marvel is a crazy rudderless ship. It's going all over the place. They don't know what they're doing, but they have some really good stuff still. They have the greatest gears, and you can always turn it around, but it seems like it's taking a while. Speaking of taking a while, that's the show. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm going to play this little video. This is not the going away video. This is the getting ready to go away video. Yeah, you thought it was almost the end of the show. Thank you all God, I don't know what I'm going to do with StreamYard if they can't play videos at the end of the show. It's crazy. Thank you all my patrons. They're running down at the bottom of the screen. If you want to become a patron, it's just Fantastic Comics. You can put in as much as you want one time or have it recur. Think of this as like a thank you for existing, because existing in comics is tough. Wait. All right, so McFarlane, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, Quesada, Silvestri. Let's see in the bottom now. Jay Lee, Sam Keith, Bart Sears, Dale Keown, and Mark Bagley. Do you know what the deal was with Dale Keown was, I heard? Yeah. Oh, look at George Perez. I'm not coming to your red state. Oh, those hoodlums. Oh, Eric Stevenson. Now that's a guy named Eugene if there ever was one. Oh, shit. Randy Emerald. I don't want to see no stinking inker. Get that out of there. Unless you're going to show me Mark Bagley's picture. Nobody wants to see that. I did love the price guide. I would always have 4 months worth of price guides, and then I would rotate them out because, 1 month there'll be like a big X-Men month, and the other one will be like Spider-Man, and then, some DC and stuff like that. But they would, they would be the most up-to-date thing. There was no eBay really quite the way it is now. But yeah, thank you to all my patrons. You're awesome. You've kept us going, and crossing my fingers, we're working towards something to benefit you. Spawn first issue was an $8 book. I just priced one up at $100 the other day. It is the best raw version of Spawn you're going to ever find, I think. Scout's honor right there. Not a scout. Let's go back to comments before we leave. All right, we're gonna do it right here. Jasper says comic shops don't display books that way. Covers sell better than spines for sure. I would at least 4 face outs a shelf in the big store. So Walking Dead took a lot of space. But right next to Walking Dead would be maybe like one of those Brian K. like We Stand on Guard, out. Yeah, Spider-Man, something I had multiple copies. 3 copies have to be out, and do nice windows is what I like to call them. Oh yeah, and at the old store at Comic Relief, and even at our store, we had a lot of end cap type stuff. All right, let's get me in trouble. I love how they're all part of the problem. They canceled your boy for telling the truth about comics. There was that New York Summit. I think it was Comics Pro. I never go to those. And there were a lot of people that were crying about all the and it's whatever they said. Thing is Bleeding Cool would come back and they would say the things that they want people to think about. So everybody has to say how wonderful this is, whether it's like the Ms. Marvel or the Luke Cage getting married and having kids and not wearing a superhero costume or whatever the hell it might have been. Hawkeye being, cucked by Kate, and all the other stuff. Those guys, and I would assume it was a majority male audience because it was retailers. And probably they were the vocal ones. So like of those people in the room, the vocal ones got up and were really, angry about, everybody changing in comics, not represented like they were in the movies where people would come in and want to see, Iron Man, but we've got Riri and all that other stuff. Not even like in my store, a lot of that stuff was very good selling. And, a lot of people I hear online and on YouTube do not like Ryan North and do not like Squirrel Girl, but I sell a lot of Ryan North and I sell a lot of Squirrel Girl. And Moon Girl at one time was very, very good. And Ms. Marvel was very, very good. Now, I think things that Marvel did hurt Ms. Marvel and some of the sales of the other books. But I don't think it was necessarily because of those books or those characters. You know, am I an outlier? Possibly. You know, that happens. Maybe it's just because I'm in a bigger city or a college town and, you know, we can get away with stuff. But I'll have you know that in the same area where we were, Comic Relief was. And Comic Relief would sell 8-Ball and Optic Nerve and Bone and all sorts of things. And we were, you know, just south, I guess, of the college, but nowhere near where people lived for the most part of the students. And up on Telegraph, where there was Comics and Comics, they were able to sell anything like that. And it's like right by the college. So, you know, you have to be able to cultivate, you have to be able to tell people, you have to be able to want to let people know that Danger Street is actually good. Let's keep the Joe Sacco's Comics of Journalism. Yeah, sure. Have I read the monthly publication panel? I have not. It's very good and just focused just on comics creators in the process of making comics. I highly suggest it. That's cool. I just don't have time for that probably. John says, peace out. Peace out. Yeah, and if you guys can, you know, hit the thumbs up on the way out. Let's see. There are literally thousands of videos with action items they could have listed. It's true. It's true. I think about you know, just working at the store. I'm not ever going to want to write a comic book. I've tried to, and it's something I did in the past. But, you know, still I come up with ideas or things, and, you know, I would like to see. And one of them, I was like, you know, I was kind of fantasizing about wanting to write a Luke Cage comic. And I would like in every issue, he would be throwing down with one of the baddest motherfuckers in Marvel. And I think people would come to see that, especially if it had a really good, awesome artist, someone that's just rippling shit. And then the third issue, he's going to fight the Juggernaut. I'm going to tell you that. Like, Luke Cage is going to go toe-to-toe with the Juggernaut. You're going to be like, no way. But I think that'd be great. And tomorrow, I want everybody to know, out in the Bay Area, we got a Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey that we're going to be going to at the AMC theaters. I think there's still tickets. You should come. It's going to be hilarious. What are we eating tomorrow night? I have no idea, but come to the store. Be there at like 4:30, okay? Because I want to close and then do it. Plus, we probably got to do some Dr. Dabbin or something. Oh, snap. Bill, breaking news, everybody. not sourced at all. Bill Watterson is coming out of retirement. Oh, I was just saying the other day how much I love his Calvin and Hobbes. Great stuff. He's great. I like him. Great. Hopefully I'll be selling it. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm going to play a video. Hopefully it plays. These other ones have let me down. We'll see you next week for more comic book talk. Thank you very much. It's been a great last few weeks. We've got our numbers up, and we're getting there. Let's do it. Let's push positivity of comics. Let's go out there and read what we like and let people know that we like stuff. And until next week.
Lucy and Ramona cruising through the jungles of L.A. Hoping to promote a dream somewhere along the way. They're rolling through the streets, looking for a disco, passing up the treats from a kid named Cisco, trying to make connections with their blemish-free complexions, and just as fate would have it, ended up with Sunset Sam. Sam was selling watches from a suitcase on a TV tray. And Lucy Lucy and Ramona were trying to figure out if he was gay. The three of them were standing, staring at each other, when the light behind their eyes blew each other's cover. The ancient code was branded, and each of them was handed a ticket to their kingdom, 'cause they saw their brother sunset sun. Lucy and Ramona, sunset sand. People on the streets trying to find the plan. People on the streets looking for the land. Lucy and Ramona and their brother sunset sand. Lucy was from Compton, and she met Ramona at the zoo. Ramona was from Brooklyn, but she left when she was 22. Sam was a native of the Arizona desert, but he split when he was slated for some governmental make-work. Their differences subsided when the common bond was sighted. They were all from the same place that made the famous sunset sand.